Well, hello, friends. Glad you could join us. Welcome to the penultimate round of the CCRL Elite Tier season. This time it's at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico. I want to say, is this Mexico City, Mexico? It's incredible the things I know and don't know at the same time. Anyways, not the point. We are here. We've got 19 drivers on the grid for what should be a fantastic evening of motor racing. This, in the virtual world at least, should be brilliant, to say the least. Hotspot on the call with you. Mexico, a very fine track. The last time I commentated a Mexico Grand Prix in this game was a couple of weeks ago with the Jag Thursday Championship. It was a 100% distance Grand Prix. And let me tell you something. This track had produced so much drama and action in that race that I am absolutely 100% certain that we're going to have one of the races of the season here. It's almost a guarantee. I don't want to call it a guarantee or your money back, but not the point. So, just the 2 rounds left. Obviously, today in Mexico, which you're seeing now, as well as next time out in Abu Dhabi, the Yas Marina circuit, which should be a fantastic conclusion to the season as well. Again, another track that's found some revitalizations with the recent renovations it's undergone, and it should be, again, a very fun race, that. But, let's have a look at our drivers' and constructor standings going into... Discord's not loading the image, naturally. Fantastic. Okay. Is it here now? Yep, there it is. So after last time out at Zandvoort, Soxy still leads the championship, albeit only 30 points over that of Reimer in second. Looks like our first car out on track might just be... Who's it going to be here? Don't know. Nobody's actually out on track just yet. So, qualifying session underway. Reimer in second of the championship, DWCJ third, DWCJ third, Cato fourth, that being in the other Williams. 5th, John the Prince. 6th is Owa. 7th, Angry Walrus. 8th is Curveball. Looks like our first driver out on track is going to be a V-Carb. It will be Curveball. Sepulveda 9th, Johnny Damon rounding out the top 10. Charlie Golf not all that far behind for that 11th spot. Matter of fact, they're actually tied on points. Matter of fact, now that I look at this again, 4 drivers are within 2 points, 3 of which are tied at 94. That being... the Sauber of Johnny Damon, the McLaren of Charlie Golf, Bongett in the Ferrari, and Olden Slow, which I believe is R. Manson. Yeah, it is R. Manson, in the Aston Martin. If that doesn't scream competitiveness to you, I don't know what will. But after Zandvoort last time out as well, let's have a look at the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes atop the table by a good 159 points. Sorry, I read that initially wrong back to Reimer. That's actually pretty neat that they have points gained. So the gap is only just the 12 points between Reimer and that of Soxy. That part is true. As far as the constructors are concerned, Williams are leading this by a lot. 159 points. The gap between themselves and Mercedes in second place. McLaren third. Alpine fourth. The Aston Martin's fifth. The Sauber sixth. The Red Bull seventh. The V-Carb's eighth. The Haas's ninth. And the Ferrari's 10th. Those are your constructor standings, and by goodness me, we've got Curveball out on our first timed attempt of the session. Let's go along with the V-Carb driver here. What we're going to do, we're going to open the telemetry. I'm very interested to see the top speeds that these drivers are pulling. So, 332 kilometers an hour into the braking zone of turn 1, 2, and 3. It's a very fun opening couple of corners. This is, especially during the race. And then you've got DRS exiting turn 3, down this little stretch, heading in towards another tight left-handed corner of turn 5, turn 4, immediately switching into the right-hander of turn 5. Sometimes, as you'll just see there and, well, here, along with this, drivers do sometimes go wide out of that 5th corner through the double apex right-hander of turn 6. We don't usually see many overtakes there, but it is one to look out for. Then through Sector 2, some of the most difficult combinations of corners this game has to offer. Or at least it was for the longest time. These corners now almost flat out. With these regulation changes at the, or kind of with this handling model as well, naturally. In the older games, it used to be kind of a couple of downshifts and braking through some of these corners. Almost doesn't appear that way anymore. In through the former baseball stadium section now, 13, 14, and 15, through turn 16, and rounding the final corner now, turn 17, and across the line for Curveball. It will be a 1:16.535 at the line. I don't quite know yet if that's good or bad. We do have what I believe is the Williams of Cato about to start one here. Yes, he does. Down the pit straight goes Cato. DWCJ 1:15.6. That looks a pretty good lap to me, has to be said. He's about 9.5 tenths clear of curveball. Into the braking zone goes Kato, and he's only 328. So part of why I was interested to see the telemetry is because this track, naturally, very long straights, very quick. DRS will come into play a lot. However, when you're not on the straight, this track is very technical. It's very tight, it's very tricky, and there's a lot of cornering involved. As you can see here, pretty much the back end of pretty much the entirety, of Sector 2, and then in through a little bit of Sector 3. So many, difficult corners to try to navigate here. It's one of those situations where some drivers will sway one way or the other. I can tell you right now, it appears Kato seemed to have a bit of understeer going through that section of the corner. That was going through turn 7. Through the rest of it, DRS activated. Let's see if he's on his way to a halfway decent lap here. I think he is going to be losing time with that error going through 7. Johnny Damon 1:15.114 has DWCJ by half a second. So far, fastest lap, as Kato making his way through 16. The car slightly wiggly on the back end as well, so in some places it's oversteering, in some it's understeering. Well, Kato's gone fourth, 1:16.081, about a clean second off the top spot for the time being of the 10 cars that have put in time attempts. He is fourth. The McLaren of Charlie Golf has just gone 10th, gotten himself over Pontiac Bandit, still well a ways behind, as well as, I believe, is that King Pro... No, it was... who was it that just crossed the line? Hemphead's gone... Not Hemphead. It was that of Charlie Golf. Then it was the V-Carb of Pontiac Bandit. Then it was the Haas of Shiesty, now in 6th. Very competitive midfield, it seems, for the time being. Only 3/4 tenths of a second separate P6 to P10, so it's a pretty good battle going on there. Around the line now is, I believe, the Mercedes of King Pro Player. But the other Mercedes, second place in the championship of Reimer, on his timed lap now. Reimer 328 into the braking zone. Pretty average so far. We did see, who was it? It was that of Curveball, who was the quickest so far, 331. I'm sure there's other quick drivers in the way that we haven't seen, but Reimer making his way in towards Sector 2 now. With relatively clear track ahead of him, at least for the time being. He's taking a lot of curb on the inside through 4, not so much through 5. He'll try to extend on the outside through going on the way into 6. Does quite well through there. This is where I expect Reimer to thrive, though, through this second sector. Again, we talk about this pretty much every time I see this guy on track in any of the 3 leagues I commentate of him. A driver that loves downforce, and a driver that thrives off of having a car that handles well. And I think maybe, will that help him here? He'll be at a disadvantage going down the straights. That part is obvious. But with, I would say, almost the majority of the track being kind of medium to slow to high, well, just corners in general, I guess, if you want to put it like that, it may be better. Across the line for Reimer, and it is second, 1:15.437 to Johnny Damon, 3.5 tenths of a second off. That is, I would say, a good opening lap from Reimer. I'm not sure what else he could change. Pretty much looked clean to me. Maybe going over too much of the curb like he did through turn 4 probably didn't help him as much. But other than that, I mean, I really don't see any errors with that lap. That's fantastic. But don't fear the Reaper, ladies and gentlemen, unless the Reaper is Soxy, because he is on a outlap happening now. Going through Sector 2. This is the lap I think we've all waiting for here. We've got 11 minutes remaining in the session. Soxy making his way into the baseball stadium now. He'll have to let up a little bit, as I think the V-Carb of Curveball, as we have Johnny Damon, 1:14.993, our first driver, I believe, into the 1:14s. He's got Reimer by 4.5 tenths of a second, so he's taken about another 1/10.5 off of his time there. That's a big improvement as well. Soxy out of the final corner and beginning his first time attempt of the session. Let's go along with the Willie here as he makes his way down the pit straight. Again, he's got a lot of clear track ahead of him. May have some traffic in the way at the back end of the straight with the Red Bull of Patty Cake going through the corners now. Only 325 kilometers an hour going into the first corner. That's some of the slowest top speed that we've seen so far. Not sure if that's by design or he's not gotten a good exit out of the final corner. Or is he, again, has he just stacked the downforce on his car? Could absolutely be the case. Through 4, through 5. Yeah, I mean, calm as you'd like through any of this, really. Absolutely razor sharp precision. Maybe a bit of a slide there through 7. I don't know if that's hurt him. Oh, I mean, goodness me, he's taken that about as pristine as you could ask for there. Oh, but I think he's made that. That may have been a mistake there. Yep, he's been slightly late on the brakes. The car's pushed wide going into the turn 12 corner, the right-hander before the baseball stadium. That could have hurt him. I think he's had a little bit of a slip there. But rounding turn 17 now, down to the inside. Wow, so he's only second, 1:15.237. That was a great lap from Soxy, but I think that car might just be doing a little bit too much for the time being. Again, it wasn't really hitting the straight line speed that we were seeing from even that of Reimer. Wasn't hitting the straight line speed, and I think as well, maybe the car turning a little bit too sharp right now, and it is pushing slightly. As he tries to turn in, the car can't keep up with his turning inputs, and maybe that's kind of hurt him on that previous attempt. We at least saw that going through 12. I think maybe even through turn 7 he pushed out a little bit wide. That would be my two guesses as to where he's lost time, but still, either way, fantastic lap by the Williams, and that's only his first. It's still 8.5 minutes to go here. Yeah, I would expect more of the same from this lad, definitely. We got the V-Carb going down the pit straight now. It is that of Pontiac Bandit, making his second timed attempt, currently 1.9 off the pace for the time being, in towards the braking zone. 3:32, fastest top speed we've seen so far. Question is now, yeah, did look to be struggling just then going through 2 and 3. Has he improved through Sector 1? That is the question. To the line he goes. No, slower by 1/10. Very interesting. Again, and we talked about this at least twice already. So interesting of a circuit to see what drivers choose to do with their cars. Ronnie, 1:14.719. Now that's got Johnny Damon by nearly 0.3 of a second. That's got Soxy by half a second. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a situation where Soxy was down half a second off the provisional pole time. I do not believe this is a flyer from Soxy here. Well, maybe it is. 16 one-thousandths quicker. I mean, maybe it's not exactly the improvements he's probably hoping for, but let's see. Let's go along with him at least. Yeah, maybe a little bit of a twitch there going through on the way into turn 6. That may not have helped him. This is where I thought he made a mistake last time through 7, and he's taking that much better now. A lot of curb on the way out. Once again, calm as you'd like. How has he managed to do that? He's somehow, and that car looked totally on the edge the whole time. 0.3 quicker through Sector 2 alone. Oh, and again, another bit of a mistake going through 12. That may have hurt him again, but for the time being, I think he could be able to at least leapfrog Johnny Damon. It's going to be close, and he's on low fuel as well. To the line goes Soxy. Does he get to the line and get provisional pole? He does improve, only by 0.2 of a second at the end of it. Still, about, 4 100ths behind Johnny Damon? I mean, this is really something here. As King Pro Player's gone second. 15 one-thousandths of a second. Separate himself from the Red Bull of Ronnie atop the table. Suddenly, some challengers entering the fray here. We've got Shiesty on his way to the pit lane. We do have R. Manson making his way through the circuit as well. Angry Walrus on his way in. He's invalidated somewhere along the line. Patty Cake. I'm assuming we're going to start to see these drivers really... This probably coming into the pits here in the droves. We're not going to see many other drivers on flying laps. Reimer apparently is on one. According to his Sector 1 time, he's about 1/10 quicker to the line now. Half a second quicker for Reimer. So this is looking like potentially pole position territory for the Mercedes here. He's taking a little bit too much curb, more than usual through 13. Car looks really stable, though, even going over the curb. Exits the final corner to the line. Well, improves by half a second, 1:14.954. Still, 2.5 of a second off the top spot. He has outqualified Soxy for the time being by about 7 100ths. He's gotten Johnny Damon by about 4 100ths. Very close amongst the top 5. DWCJ kind of on the outside looking in for the time being. I would say probably best of the rest, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It's a good lap that he's got going. He's just... The top 5 that we do have for the time being have looked properly flawless. Reimer's in a situation now, though, where, we got less than 5 minutes remaining. 4:50 is the current time on the top of the scoreboard there. The question is he going to be able to have enough time, refuel the car, get new tires on, have the outlap, and then hope and pray that he's able to have a timed attempt and not get done in by slow cars around him. Meanwhile, John the Prince has now entered this battle for the pole as well. 3/10 of a second off the pace. Kato now in as well. The top 7 cars within 3/10 of a second of each other. By the way, John the Prince has only outqualified Soxy by 7 1/1000ths for the time being. Kato within 2/10 of a second of the front row. I mean, this is getting ridiculously close here. This is going to be a fantastic qualifying session. Oh, by the way, top 11 cars within 8/10 of a second. The gap outside of that is to Curveball, 1.1.5. Once again, I told you, I thought we were going to have a good session here. I've already pegged potentially this race as one of the best that we're going to see this season. But it has to be said, it's all set up by a good qualifying grid, and it does seem, for the time being, like we've got that on the cards. As Kato kind of slows down here, we've got the McLarens making their way through. John the Prince, probably not on a flyer at this moment. I think Charlie Gulf might be, though. Charlie Gulf to the line, and, well, he is slower by about a second and a half. No, I'm afraid not. Sepulveda might be on a flyer here. Let's go along with a Sauber. Never mind. 4.5 seconds slower from Sector 2. Slightly a buzzkill, I have to admit. So, man of the hour in the penultimate race of the season of Soxy. 3/10 of a second off. And he's got a lot of competition his way. Even if Soxy gets the provisional pole time right here, there's no guarantee he's going to walk away with the top spot because there are just so many other key players involved right now. I think... Now, it's interesting to see Ronnie hasn't come back out on track yet. King Pro Player hasn't either. I would expect King Pro Player to be making a move here shortly. Strike while the iron's hot, potentially. But... big question is Soxy making his way through Sector 2. We got the pair of the V-Carbs coming out of the final corner. Potentially a tow being orchestrated here. Although, no, they're both on times. So, Pontiac Bandit following Curveball down the pit straight. Curveball also, these are both flying attempts from the V-Carbs here. I think Curveball a little too far ahead to really make a, reasonable tow to his teammate behind. But still good looks from the drivers. Hopefully they'll be able to get close up here. Oh, bit of a slide out of turn 3. For Pontiac Bandit. Yeah, still a little bit of a ways away. Probably not going to be helpful to his efforts. 2-minute warning here. King Pro Player out on track. Ronnie still isn't, although he's making his way out now. But Soxy crosses the line. Final, what I would guess, final timed attempt of the session for Soxy on the way in towards turn number 1. No, I initially was thinking that. He has not turned on his battery yet. I think this is going to be more of a warm-up lap for him, get the tires back up to temperature if he hasn't already. Of course, degradation very high here, so a little surprising that he's not gone for it the first time. But 90 seconds to go, and we do have all the heavy hitters in play here. And oh, by the way, Charlie Gulf and DWCJ are still in this as well, I think. They could very well find themselves in the top 5 if they get a good opportunity. DWCJ will have a little bit more work to do, currently 7/10 behind. Curveball now into the picture, P9. Booyaka 619 behind. My fellow WWE fans will appreciate that. Anyways, not the point. Minute to go. Ronnie making his way through Sector 2 into 3. King Pro Player starting his attempt. Well, I was going to say now, but he's not really gotten a good go. He's, sometimes what we'll see drivers do, they'll go wider out of the final corner in order to, gain more straight line speed, get better acceleration going down the straight here. I don't think that's actually going to be the case for him. I think he's going to be slow in this first sector because he's really gone close to the inside. Only 319 kilometers an hour, one of the slowest top speeds we've seen so far. This is slightly alarming for King Pro Player. I do not believe he's going to improve on this lap unless he's made a genuine mistake somewhere along the line behind on his previous one through Sector 2, and already a 1/10.5 slower through Sector 1. I hate to say it, but I've completely seen that coming. Soxy to the line, starting his final attempt now. This is going to be one to look out for here. We've got just about 10 seconds remaining. Final couple of cars coming around the line now. Reimer will be one of the final cars to start a timed attempt. We've got one of the V-Carbs, matter of fact, both of the V-Carbs, round in the final corner now. Curveball is slower by 2/10. Pontiac Bandit not going to do for him. We got the Ferrari of Hemphead into the pit lane. We've got the Sauber, Johnny Damon, making his way through Sector 2. The question is now, as King Pro Player appears to be slower going through Sector 2, he'll come to the line anyways, but I do not believe this will be the improvement that he's looking for. King Pro Player to the line, slower by 2.5 tenths of a second, not what he needed. Cato has also gone fourth. He's out. He's done. Johnny Damon, though, looking like a good lap for him. And across the line, provisional pole, 1:14.613. That's the lap he was looking out for. Ronnie has invalidated. This is turning out to be incredible. Can Charlie Gulf? Well, he's invalidated as well. That's quite the buzzkill there, I'm afraid. Angry Walrus into the baseball stadium now. R. Manson won't be able to complete it. Johnny Damon, Ronnie King, pro player, the top three. DWCJ currently fourth, but we're just waiting as Soxy across the line, and provisional pole for him, 9/1000ths of a second. It's up to Reimer now. Has he improved enough to be able to take provisional pole? And of course, DWCJ still behind as well. Reimer to the line, only third. It's 5/100ths between the top three. DWCJ can't do it. A tenth and a half separate the top five. Only 7.5 tenths separate the top 10. Goodness me. By the way, 3 tenths separate the top 7. Soxy pole sitter by 9/1000ths of a second. By the way, in case you were ever wondering, a blink of an eye is between 2 and 4 tenths of a second. That is about as close as it will get, right there, without getting dead on balls accurate between the two. It's an industry term. Soxy, your pole sitter, Johnny Damon second, Reimer third, Ronnie fourth, King Pro Player fifth, DWCJ sixth, Cato seventh, Baron the McLarens 8th and 9th, and Curveball rounding out the top 10. What a fantastic qualifying session this has been. And for the time being, at least, a beautiful looking day this at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. As much as I don't speak Spanish, I think it is kind of fun to try your hand at it. While we have a minute. No, what do you call it? No session is complete with a nice, cold, refreshing beverage of your choice. So if you want to take a moment to crack open a cold one with the boys right now. Hello, Hotspot's ASMR channel. Oh yeah, good stuff. I'm sorry. I don't condone drinking on the job, but when you're like me and, no, it's not technically a job, to hell with it. I don't believe Formation Lap is on. At least not that I remember. It's weird, because every league I have is different. According to Bong It, we've got less than 3 minutes remaining now. That message was posted at 26. It's currently 27. So, within the next couple of minutes, we will get cars going. Just want to say how much a pleasure it's been commentating here in the CCRL Elite Tier. I think it's been an absolutely fun ride we've been on so far. Penultimate round of the season. I do hope to come back again next season. I don't know what the cards hold. You know, I've started a new job. Kind of requires me to be up earlier in the morning. It's slightly difficult when your race begins at 10:30 at night. But you know, at least here on the East Coast. But you know, either way, been a proper fun time joining you. Do want to thank Trackside as well, who got me integrated with this league in the early season, and hope he's doing well. Reimer as well for providing me with this opportunity. Anyote, Bong It, you name it. Anyways, how's everybody doing? Well, we have a minute. Go over some baseball or other sports going on. I don't know. What other sport is going on in this time of the year? The WNBA, I suppose. Anyways. Shall we look at the MLB? Why not? Who do we have? Happening now. Brewers and Cards tied 4-4 top of the 8th. Tigers leading the Cubs 4-2 in the top of the 9th. Mariners Dodgers tied 0-0 here in the second. The Athletics are leading the Rays 1-0 bottom of the 4th. The Royals beat the Angels 3-0. Phillies beat the Braves 3-2. The Reds hammered the Blue Jays 11-7, which is odd. Yesterday, the Blue Jays did pretty good. Also on the eve of Joey Votto's retirement. The Yankees beat the Guardians 8-1. The Nationals beat the Rockies 6-1. No surprise there. Minnesota Twins beat the Padres 11-4. Diamondbacks beat the Marlins 10-8. The White Sox I believe only their 31st win of the season, 31st win of the season, 6-2. Rangers versus Pirates finished 1-0. Pittsburgh, despite not scoring any runs, did hit the ball 8 times. The Rangers scored their final run, bottom of the 9th. If you're a fan of high-scoring baseball, that series did not have it. Orioles were defeated by the Mets 4-3. Red Sox beat the Astros 4-1, and that is your kind of roundup of the Major League Baseball scores. Oh, here we go. Lights turning on, just as planned. Lights turning on here in Mexico for the penultimate time this season. What a grid we have. What competition is on track, and they are away. Soxy does get us going here, and I think he has definitely cleared both Reimer and Johnny Damon. Matter of fact, Reimer's gotten past Johnny Damon as well as the Sauber slipped towards the back. Soxy does lead them genuinely into the first corner. Reimer's going to try around the outside as they fan out behind him. I don't believe it's going to be any sort of potential into the first corner. Looking as they go behind, Ronnie has dropped all the way to 6. Did he know that formation lap was off? He's lost 3 positions. Oh, but look at this. Reimer's gotten around Soxy. Was there a mistake by the Williams driver? Did Reimer genuinely get out ahead? Is now Johnny Damon looking for it as it's 3 cars all bottlenecked into turn 5. Contact being made there between the Sauber of Johnny Damon and Soxy as they snake their way through Sector 2. This is a fantastic opening lap here. John the Prince and Curveball side by side as they exit the double right-hander of turn 6. It looks as if the V-Carb will get past the McLaren as now they make their way through what is the most treacherous portion of the circuit, the Sector 2 back and forth, the S's. Ronnie trying to get round Cato. He'll have a look to the outside, but he's not going to have it into turn 12. Very solemnly do we see moves be made there. Reimer, however, will lead the first lap of this Grand Prix. He's made up 2 spots since the opening getaway there. Soxy's lost the spot. Johnny Damon down the spot as well. DWCJ up 2. King Pro Player has stayed stationary in 5th. Cato 6th. Ronnie 7th. Up to 6th now as he's gotten down the inside of Cato very easily. They will not have DRS this time by. They will have to wait as, unfortunately, Shiesty backing it into the pit lane. Into the first corner they go. Soxy nowhere to be found on the tail end of Reimer as they make their way through the first couple of corners. Shiesty, 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, which is slightly odd considering he was going in reverse. Bold. Anyways, Reimer leads them, going down now, heading into turn 4. They will not have, once again, they will not have DRS until they go into the Sector 2 into 3 DRS zone there. That's exiting turn 11. We'll get there shortly. I do not believe, though, that Soxy's car is going to be able to make massive runs at cars ahead. Again, this was a car that was slower on the end of the top speeds that we did see. The question, for the first time I think I've ever said this, Reimer, I think, could be beating cars on straight line speed, and there you go. Soxy with DRS did not really close that much, albeit it's a relatively short DRS zone. The true testament to his pace will be shown as they make their way into turn 1. We'll go over the tire strategies really quick. 5 drivers have gone hard for this occasion. Ronnie, Charlie, Curveball, Sepulveda, and Angry Walrus. The rest of them have stayed medium. Making their way down the pit straight, Reimer does break the toe. Soxy closes in, but only just. He won't have a move into the first corner unless... Oh, I tell you what, it's getting ever so closer now. Yeah, that straight was a lot longer than I think Reimer had intentioned, as Soxy was able to claw back at least 0.3 of a second going down the pit straight. May have a look here going into turn 4. It would be a little surprised if he did. Not a very oftentimes do we see drivers make moves into this corner type thing. Walrus, our first driver, with a 3-second penalty of the day for multiple warnings on only the, the 3rd lap of the Grand... Is that actually correct? Yeah, it should be. Wait, is it? That doesn't seem right. Anyways. Looks like we've had a bit of a mix-up there. Hemphead and Ormanson both towards the back end of the grid. No, that is correct. No, I'm imagining things now. So with DRS that time, Soxy did not close in one bit, but King Pro Player to the inside, round the outside of DWCJ. Just when I said 2 laps ago that we wouldn't see drivers make moves into turn 12. Oh, and look at this, through the baseball stadium. It's Charlie Golf and Cato side by side. Even less common do we see it there. Oh, and there's contact. Charlie Golf does make contact with the side of Cato. I believe that was due to oversteer more than anything else. He's lost the end plate on the side of the car. That is a huge Huge error then, as side-by-side, Ronnie tried to make a move, but DWCJ not going to happen. DWCJ now down to the inside of King Pro Player. Into the first corner, lots of contact being made. That will allow the Red Bull round, and, well, that's a pretty easy way to get a spot there by not having to do anything. Fantastic. Johnny Damon actually really pressuring the Williams now. I think he's just trying to get a feel for whether or not this Williams car of Soxy's actually going to be willing to defend. He will more likely be trying to attack Reimer than to defend from Johnny Damon and lose time. So I think Johnny Damon, realizing that, needs to actually, be willing to send it when he needs to. But as they make their way through Sector 2 now, actually kind of a big gap here. DWCJ behind by a second and a half back to Ronnie. Kato, 4.5 tenths of a second. Which of the McLarens was it? It is that of Charlie Golf with wing damage on the right front of his front wing then. Again, we saw that coming out of the baseball stadium side by side with Kato. And I think the car really just kind of had a bit of a oversteer moment and got into the side of the Williams. It didn't look as if Kato had pushed him wide. I don't think really there was anything malicious between them. I'm going to chalk that to pure error by Charlie Golf. But as they make their way down the pit straight, Soxy now within plenty of striking distance on Reimer. He'll go down to the inside, and now does the great chase begin. As, remember, Reimer won't have DRS again, as, look at this, Johnny Damon now to the inside. He's decided to back out of it seems, only for the time being. Side by side now, Johnny Damon, oh, he's not going to be able to. That's going to allow King Pro Player down the inside. And just like that, in the moment of hesitation Johnny Damon showed, he's actually been overtaken, and we've now got 2 Mercedes on the podium. Technically 3, but that's a discussion for another day. Anyways. So the big question for Reimer is he going to be able to keep pace with Soxy ahead? I think as long as he has DRS, he can. But Soxy's car undoubtedly better through Sector 2, and this is where, about now, is where the detection point is. There it is, Reimer outside of the second. This has now turned into a huge task for Reimer, because if he wants to get back and have an opportunity at actually being in the lead of this Grand Prix, he's got to get back within DRS length again, which he will have, assuming he stays within the second, coming out of turn 14. Is he able to do it? No, he's shy by about 3/100ths of a second. Not good. Walrus, his second 3-second time penalty of the day, up to 6. Reimer does not have DRS, not that I can notice. There's the line now, does not have it. King Pro Player will get around his teammate here. Oh, but look at this, Johnny Damon and Ronnie, side by side, the Red Bull down to the inside, may get 1, may get 2, does get both the Mercedes on the way in. And so that will relegate King Pro Player to 3rd, Reimer to 4th. Oh, bit of contact there between Reimer and Johnny Damon. I think maybe Reimer, did he get out of shape, or just kind of a bit difficult going side by side through the corner. Johnny Damon will get around the Mercedes and up to the 4th spot. All the while, this has now opened up nearly a 1.5-second gap between Soxy and the second place driver, whoever it will be at the time. It is Ronnie for the time being. Question is now, will Ronnie be able to stack up to the challenges brought forth by the Williams championship leader? We got Curveball and Kato. Oh, Kato's had to go on off track here. I see as he's missing the end plate on the left front of that car. Not sure what's happened, but he's been demoted down to 14th. As Walrus and Bong it side by side, will they be able to get patty cake as well? No. Hemphead is retired, that being genuine, that being on track, that being a safety car. He has been that car genuinely coming out of turn 10 and 11. The car is no longer in one piece, as the leaders have all missed the pit lane except for Reimer. 30 laps to go. We've got the safety car, Reimer's got the hard tires. And actually, I kind of expected to see a lot more drivers in the pit lane than what we do have, only 6 of them. Pontiac Bandit, however, a tenner for speeding into the pit lane. I'm assuming, though, we will see Soxy pit this time round. Ronnie as well. Again, if we look at the tires people did have at the start of the Grand Prix, Ronnie did start on the hards. I'll probably think he'll stay out. Curveball probably as well. Walrus and Sepulveda, the drivers, I think will be staying out here genuinely under the safety car. But the question is for everyone else, do we sacrifice track position for better strategy? Of course, you will still have to go 30 laps on these hard tires should you choose to use them, and that's no guarantee the race stays green either. You know, this could be a situation we go to the hards, find another safety car with 10-15 to go, and then we get ourselves onto a battle with the soft tires or perhaps another set of the mediums, or maybe even closer to the end of the race. A lot of thinking now into the brain of Soxy because he will now determine the strategy for every other driver on the medium tires behind him. If you're on a safety car like this, you're going to follow the leader, and now it's all up to him to decide what to do. Does he stay out? Does he prolong the tire strategy? You know, does he rely on his true on-track pace to actually get him where he needs to be? That is a massive question that I think Soxy will have to deal with here. I do assume he will be pitting here, but I could be wrong. I have been wrong once before, and I was right about it. Think about that one for a second. Soxy will stay out. Now that I didn't expect. And what's interesting as well, a lot of the leaders have decided to stay out. Those who didn't pit, staying out as well. Bold take this, or Manson does pit. Bold strategy's this. Safety car out on track. I will step aside for the time being. Soxy, your leader, but for how long? And how dominating will he be? The safety car is on its way in at the end of this lap. Soxy will lead the queue back round. So, recap. A lot of action in the top 7 cars, the top half of the grid. 6 seconds of penalty for Walrus, Pontiac Bandit, 10 seconds. But big question is, top 9 guys did not stop. That is a big question mark, especially those residing on the medium tires like our leader of Soxy. We'll get back to green flag here in about now. There they go, down the pit straight. Did Ronnie get a good enough jump to be able to challenge the Williams into the first corner? He is closing in, but not really at a rate where I think he's going to be able to challenge on his way, and he's not using his energy store either. I think he's kind of just playing it chill. We do have an overtake now. Johnny Damon wanted to look to the inside of King Pro Player, couldn't do it. Charlie Golf and Sepulveda have actually gotten around Reimer, and now Reimer trying down to the inside has fallen back to the 11th position. Now side by side with Sepulveda, maybe a little bit of contact there with his right rear tire, but as they go down the straight now heading towards turn 4, they'll be side by side, as well as Angry Walrus and Curveball. Curveball down to the inside. Will he be able to take this one cleanly around the outside of Curveball? Maybe, maybe not, and he does. King Pro Player, however, 3 seconds for multiple warnings. This battle's still not sorted out. Massive, massive side-by-side battle this, as Walrus does end up the victor for the time being. But as we were along with that, the big question, big story, King Pro Player, 3 seconds of penalty. That is gonna, I think, that's gonna come into play a lot towards the back end of this Grand Prix. But, speaking of meaningful happenings here, Ronnie has gotten within 0.3 of a second of Soxy, and I think even without DRS going down this pit straight this time, he could absolutely find himself in a position to overtake the Williams going into the first corner. He saved up all the battery he can. Again, won't have DRS until they go down the one exiting turn 11, heading towards turn 12. Ronnie has since stopped deploying his battery. He's going to be within 0.3 of a second. Yeah, won't be close enough to make it on Soxy. That was, well, I was kind of hoping he was going to send it there, but he hasn't. Bong it, sending it to the inside of Curveball, going through turn 1. May push wide, allowing Charlie Golf to the right side. That'll promote him to 8th. If he's able to stay ahead of Curveball here, he could very well as well get Bong it for 7th. Down the straight they go, heading towards turn 4. Curveball having a peek to the inside. He's actually going to compromise his line going through 4 and 5 and doing that. I'd expect him maybe he's going to fall back a little bit here, and yep, there he goes. He's exited the corner, a bit wide, hasn't picked up the 3-second penalty. That belongs to Kato, as you see back there. But now, this is where I believe Ronnie could come out to play. He'll have DRS this time as they exit turn 10 and 11. DRS activated, and he's right up against the rear wing of Soxy. Does he get it to the inside? Does he choose to outbrake the Williams? No, not this time. He's played it safely. He knows that he'll have a better opportunity going down the pit straight, and he doesn't need to do anything stupendously dumb on the way in. However, Soxy visibly handled the third sector there, I think, better. He'll only have a 4.5 of a second advantage when they get to the DRS line. Ronnie is going to have him well before they get to the first corner. Soxy knows, doesn't even use the battery to defend. We have a new leader. It's the Red Bull of Ronnie. Charlie Golf and Bong it side by side. Golf has dispatched Bong it rather easily. Reimer consultates that of Curveball, but Sepulveda now down to the inside. He's made that one happen as well. Nicely done for Sepulveda. Double overtake, by the way. And still, the queue of cars here from 9th on back, headed by Sepulveda. Reimer in 10th, Curveball 11th, as DWCJ to the inside of Curveball will now have that 11th spot. And oh, by the way, Owa trying to join the battle as well. Owa dives really late on the brakes, and he'll collide with DWCJ. Oh, and that is just an egregious mistake there by Owa, and I'm sure he knows it as well. Yeah, you could see that one coming from a mile away. He's overcompensated the braking zone. He's not taking it properly. And that is single-handedly torched DWCJ's race as well in the process. Oh, but Bongit has made a mistake. Yes, he has. And he's gone off in Sector 2, similar to how his teammate of Hemphead did. Thankfully, for Bongit's case, he has not retired from the session in his spin or crash. As apparently Owa and Pattycake both taken to the escape road there. Didn't really think they needed to, especially with the ghosted car, but not the point. So, more troubles for Ferrari-powered cars going through Sector 2. Here goes Johnny Damon to the inside of King Pro Player. Had a look, not going to have an opportunity, not this time. They'll have to wait until going into Turn 4, which I think is going to less happen. Reimer gets around Sepulveda, nicely done there, and I think is he going to be able to hold on to it? It certainly seems so. The pair of the McLarens now, battling Angry Walrus for the 5th spot. Reminder that Angry Walrus does have a 6 seconds penalty for track limits. Charlie Golf will dispatch his teammate there, and I think that may have been the better option as well. Charlie Golf has shown strong pace all day long. John the Prince, I'm assuming, as well. Let's actually see. Well, he is on 11-lap old mediums as well, compared to Charlie's 5. Yeah, that would make sense to me. Charlie Golf up 3 positions, John the Prince up 1. Big story so far, Sepulveda up 10. Of course, he does still need to stop, being that he's on the hard tires in which he started the race with. But Ronnie, now outside of a second on Soxy. Soxy, even with having DRS, was losing time. And he's gone wide going through 12. That's a corner where he's been having mistakes all day long, even with quali. That was a corner that he was struggling with. So I don't believe Soxy is going to be close enough for the time being to get back to the Red Bull, as we are about a third of the way through this Grand Prix. Johnny Damon, I'm thinking, will absolutely have a look at King Pro Player here as they make their way towards Turn 1. Johnny Damon certainly... Well, I thought he was going to. As it turns out, King Pro Player much closer to overtaking the Williams. As now, it's Charlie Golf around the outside of Angry Walrus. Is he going to be able to clear him into the braking zone? Yes, he does. That one didn't seem to be as difficult there for Charlie Golf, although now, however, he's got a 4.5 second disadvantage to get up to Johnny Damon for the 4th spot. Do you have any other close ones going on in the first corner? No, it actually slightly appears that the rest of the grid kind of spread out a little bit. It is still just the head of the table here. Ronnie, for the time being, does lead Soxy by a second, though. Who leads King Pro Player by a second, who leads Johnny Damon only by 3 tenths. I'll tell you what, I would argue Johnny Damon is probably second to Ronnie only in this battle for the lead. Probably on pure pace, I would argue. Into 12 they go. King Pro Player won't gain any. I think Soxy may be at least within DRS range this time. Yes, he is. He's clawed that gap back to within a second. Although another slide coming into the final corner. DRS activated going down the pit straight. There it is. As King Pro Player dispatched by Johnny Damon for the 3rd position. I think we kind of expected that one to be happening. Again, Johnny Damon, we kind of thought one of the best drivers on pace. Angry Walrus, however, down to the inside. We'll get Charlie Golf with ease. Good battle going on here between the Aston and the 2 McLarens. Question is now is why Reimer isn't really clawing his way back. Still about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds behind John the Prince. Of course, as the couple of cars ahead of him battle, it'll get him closer here. But, yeah, a little surprised Reimer hasn't been able to claw back this gap. I'm slightly curious as to what's going on. You know, he's on the hard tires. You know, some drivers have preferences, obviously. Sometimes we'll go to a circuit and the drivers just won't like being on the hard tire. They'll try to avoid it at all costs. Could that be the case with Reimer? And I will say he is gaining time to John the Prince. He is getting closer. But I kind of expected him to be a little bit more in play. But Owa now 3 seconds for multiple warnings. So your look at penalties goes like this. King Pro Player on 3 seconds. Walrus on 6. Pontiac Bandit has a 10er for speeding into the pit lane. Kato, Pattycake, and Owa, the trio of them, have a trio of penalties. 3 seconds each. Down the pit straight they go. Johnny Damon actually won't have DRS to Soxy, either that he's choosing not to use it. King Pro player into the pit lane has fit the hard tires, which I believe is correct. We do have a yellow flag, and I believe it's that of the Haas of Owa. Something's happened with him. It doesn't appear that he's hit anything, and the track stays green. Reimer gets around John the Prince, now up to the 6th position. Well, I'm allowed to be wrong, and I definitely am wrong now. Reimer has gotten around John the Prince within about 2 laps of me taking the piss and saying he wasn't going quick enough. So, hats off to him. Owa has retired in the pit lane. We are down to 16 cars out of this grid, which initially started with 19. Pontiac Bandit to the inside. Oh, that's a big dive. Gets into his teammate going through turn 4. Still contact between the 2 Toro Rossos. Or V-Carbs, whatever the hell they are. Anyways. Well, that is not what they wanted whatsoever. Matter of fact, that has allowed DWCJ up to 9th. Huge error then. Into the pit lane, the Williams of Soxy, making his scheduled stop for the hard tires. This will drop him at least behind the McLaren of John the Prince, probably even further. Hard tires, there you go. Probably come out on track here, neck and neck with the 2 V-Carbs in question. Well, he will. He's not going to be up to pace enough to really be able to challenge. Charlie Golf picking up his first 3-second penalty of the day, although he was side-by-side with Walrus just now. Maybe was he not forced wide? Maybe that's the wrong way to look at it. Maybe was there a little bit of tussling going on between the 2, and the car slightly, well, yeah, forced wide. There's really no other way to say it. I'm sure it wasn't intentional, but it does happen. So we have R. Manson. Oh, and R. Manson's tried it to the inside of Curveball then. Oh, it looked like it was just a tank slapper to me. I don't think Pontiac Bandit got into the rear just then. I think that was kind of a bit too violent of a lockup on the rear to actually be able to do that. Yeah, I don't know. That was a close one. I didn't actually think he was within position to make enough contact there to send him around like that. But who has gone around is Sepulveda. Goes around, I believe that was going through 7, 8, or 9. It's fallen down to 14th. Into the pit lane now, the Sauber of Johnny Damon. The stakes are high for the bright green-colored car. Into the pit lane, onto the hards. He's slightly overcut, I would say, at least his main competitor, that being of Soxy. Soxy making his way out of the final corner now. He will have DRS to the 2 V-Carbs ahead of him. Johnny Damon coming out on track will rejoin the track behind the Williams in question. Is actually at least still within the same ballpark as Soxy here. And Soxy's at least going to try it on 1. May get 2 V-Carbs. Round the outside is Pontiac Bandit on his teammate. Goodness me, and that has held up the Williams dramatically. That may allow R. Manson and Johnny Damon into the picture. Soxy still side by side with Pontiac Bandit. Goodness me, this is not what the Williams wanted, considering now that's allowing his main rival back into the fray. Soxy will try it around the outside of Pontiac Bandit going through 5. Somehow he's making it stick for the time being. Bit of contact there, even more there. And I think there's a bit of a front wing missing now for Pontiac Bandit. Can I just get confirmation by looking at it? Yep, there it is. He's lost the end plate on what I believe was the right rear tire of Soxy, who is now up to the 8th position and is looking to get around Curveball here. Manson, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. We are halfway through this 36-lap Grand Prix, as no patty cake has gone off. That is the same spot as where Hemphead bit the dust, which brought out the first safety car and our second of the day. Oh, now a bit of a mix-up here going through the baseball stadium. Which cars were ahead, which ones weren't. Cato certainly hanging alongside R. Manson. DWCJ in, Manson stays out, Cato stays out, the pair of the V-Carbs on the way in, Damon, Sepulveda. The rest of the leaders out on track ahead. Soxy has stayed out as well. Remember, he's only just pit recently, although it probably could have been a smart plan to pit again for the mediums and be on the better tire. Could have been. Well, this changes everything, and that is absolutely the case. And oh, by the way, Ronnie and Angry Walrus may get themselves a free stop here, considering 17 laps on the hards, a couple laps under safety car here, and I think you could go the whole way on the whole rest of the race on the mediums. Especially if we get more drivers pitting and it takes a little while longer to actually be able to group up the grid. It takes, 2-3 laps. Yeah, you could absolutely get away with pitting here for Ronnie and still maybe come out okay and go the end of the race on the medium tires. That's at least what I think he's going to do. He's got to stay under Delta there. As you can see, that's why he's slowed down out of the corner. And into the pit lane he goes, nearly taking the pit lane speed limiter board on his outside. Medium tires, yes, going on for the Red Bull. Angry Walrus in, Golf in, Reimer in. Soxy will be the next car around, who I think is now struggling to stay under Delta. There he goes. You can kind of see it a little bit on his telemetry. As they exit the pit lane, Ronnie will exit to the track in the lead of the Grand Prix. Walrus, I don't believe will actually keep the position. No, Soxy's on his way in. Now, this I didn't expect, and I think maybe telekinesis happening or something, some mind reading by Soxy. I was just talking moments ago how he could go to the medium tires after having stopped for the hards already. He has listened, albeit I don't think on purpose. Maybe he's hearing me somehow. I do not know. I don't know how that would be possible. But Soxy has done exactly what I kind of figured he would, hoped he would do. He's gone to the medium tires and now could be at an advantage. Safety car out on track. I'll step aside until it bunches the grid back up and we'll have one hell of a conclusion to this penultimate round, the Mexican Grand Prix. Safety car will be finding its rightful home at the end of the pit lane, this time by Ronnie does lead the grid here on the medium tires. He's essentially been handed a free pit stop then with his track position and the safety car on track. R. Manson has stayed out in second place, 12-lap old hard tires. King Pro Player third, Walrus fourth, Reimer back up to fifth. The pair of the McLaren 6th and 7th, DWCJ 8th, Soxy 9th, and Curveball 10th. Now, I initially kind of figured that Soxy was going to be at an advantage if he did pit for the mediums. He's not got a lot of race left to do it. We've got 15 some odd laps to go. Who needs math when you've got this much action? As they exit the final corner, green flag back in the air. Of course, DRS won't be activated until next time by, and even then it's coming out of turn 10 and 11, but not the point. Ronnie leads him down the pit straight. I think actually here, King Pro Player, wow, I thought he was going to have a look at Manson. He's actually slightly fallen behind the Aston Martin. Matter of fact, the two Papaya cars are switching positions here. Hopefully their team play goes better than what we saw the B-Carbs earlier on, because not pretty. I'm sure there'll be discussion about that later. Maybe behind closed doors, but discussion will take place. 0.2 of a second, King Pro Player. 6 seconds of penalty. Keep that in mind. That will be important in this battle for the lead. He'll try to get past our Manson here. Won't have the room to do it. Manson is actually now allowed almost a second and a half back to Ronnie. And again, Manson on those older hard tires. This is more or less of what we expected, as Walrus is actually going to get around King Pro Player. So double Aston Martins in the top 3 cars. King Pro Player, of course, 6 seconds of penalty, as well as Walrus on 9, and, Manson on 3. Probably going to lose it, especially next car up is that of Reimer. But he is challenging his teammate, and he's also being challenged by that of Charlie Golf. We do have Soxy, who I believe has just gone round the outside of both DWCJ and John the Prince. How the hell have I missed that one? I'm so sorry. Please find it somewhere in a highlight. Not the point. Anyways, down the pit straight they go. Pair of the Aston Martins. They got to start working together here. I think our Manson, smart thing to do would be let his teammate by. Angry Walrus, 3-lap old medium tires, not going to be struggling that much, but that may allow the pair of the Mercedes cars into the mix here. Does King Pro Player try to shoot the line and go for broke? Not really. Manson's going to duck out of the way, drop back to 5th. The pair of the Mercedes cars will be promoted, now find themselves in an Aston Martin sandwich. Positions 2 and 5, Walrus and Manson, 3 and 4, Pro Player and Reimer. That is now allowing, however, Charlie Golf to the inside. Oh, look at this! Soxy's going to try to get both of them into turn 4. This could be incredible. Does he do it? Onto the inside? No, he's got to take so much of the curb. It's not helped him. I think he has at least gotten around R. Manson, but either way, probably better that he didn't try to send it there. That would have been risky, and he's not in a position right now where he definitely needs to take risk. He's got a championship lead that he could protect and could seal going into next week at Abu Dhabi. I do not believe Soxy's in a position where he needs to go ridiculously crazy here. But get him in a position where he could get a podium, he will fight for that, and I think he's going to. DWCJ looks for the inside of our Manson going into turn 12. Apparently I was wrong about turn 12. We're seeing a lot of guys try moves in there. Didn't really think that was going to be the case. It was kind of a throwaway DRS section, I always thought. But now, we're seeing cars left and right and center making moves into that 12th corner, and I'm pleasantly surprised by that. Speaking of moves left, right, and center, Soxy will try this round the left of Charlie Golf. He'll get that one. May get King Pro Player here. He's getting close. and it looks like he's going to be on the doorstep of doing it. To the inside, there's the right. Yeah, not quite going to get it this time. He'll probably could get it into turn 4 with DRS. Oh, he's been made contact with behind by Charlie Golf, and I think Charlie, is he missing a bit of his front wing? Well, no, I kind of thought that he was, but we got the virtual hand of displeasure by the driver of Soxy. I guess there was the contact from behind as Curveball and Manson side by side through 4. Manson will have the advantage going through 5. Kato follows in suit, currently 10th. Soxy, 0.2 of a second back to King Pro Player again. Just has to navigate this Mercedes. He's going to get himself, really, as long as he gets around Reimer, he could probably guarantee himself second place. But the problem is, King Pro Player, I would assume, is going to defend like a lion for his teammate here. And also, that's opening the door for Charlie Golf, who 0.4 of a second away from negating that penalty to stay ahead of DWCJ for the 6th position. Charlie Golf is in a position now where he's going to overtake Soxy, even with the penalty. You know, sometimes you'll see drivers, they'll get these time penalties and they'll be slightly more lackadaisical. They won't challenge for positions, knowing that they could lose it anyway with penalty. That's not what's going to happen here. Charlie Golf is going to go for it on Soxy, much like Reimer's going to go for it on Angry Walrus here. Round the outside, he'll really have to outbrake the Aston here into the corner. Soxy will get around King Pro Player, it seems. Yes, he had, but Reimer, will he be able to get around Walrus? And he does cleanly as well. That was brilliantly done. Walrus not even having DRS, he'll have to send it. I don't really think he's in position to, but Charlie Golf now has to get around King Pro Player and Soxy. Has, however, gotten around that 3-second penalty, 3.5, the gap back to DWCJ. So that's good news for Charlie. For his sake, let's hope he doesn't pick up another penalty. Coming up on the final 10 laps of the Grand Prix here in a couple of laps' time, Ronnie has the lead, 3.5 seconds. He could even pick up a penalty and be fine. Reimer has gotten to that second spot. That's the only thing. I think if he does pick up a penalty, yeah, that's a tough one, because we haven't seen Reimer that much in clean air by himself. We've only kind of seen him make these moves happen with the aid of DRS. Again, not a driver that likes straight line speed, not by any means, not as much as some drivers as we see. He's got Angry Walrus behind him, who will have DRS, as well as Soxy, who will also be challenging for this win. So, Ronnie, this is desperate for him. He cannot pick up a penalty here. If he does, his chances of winning this race, probably over. But Walrus, look at the pace he has. And there he goes, trying it. Soxy's going to shoot the gap as well. Soxy's gotten both of them into the first quarter, but a lot of contact with Walrus. Still contact. Both of them are going to go into the grass. Reimer's going to get Soxy again. Oh, the drama. And Soxy's got 3 seconds of penalty. Of course, I don't believe that one will stay. I think he could get that removed with the stewards. Goodness me, how it unfolds, how the turntables. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. That was a massive... I mean, we talked about Soxy not really in a position where he should be taking unnecessary risks. Of course, he was alongside Walrus enough to warrant getting at him. But was it a risk to be going and trying to send it into the 4th corner? Oh, sorry, not the 4th corner. Was it? I don't even remember. Was it enough of a risk to be trying to send it like that? Was it worth it? He's up to 3rd. He's got a 3-second penalty, which we think he can probably get removed with the contact that was involved. I mean, yeah, that's a really tough question, but the problem is here for Reimer is that if he allows Soxy around, we're pretty much confident that Soxy can have the pace to actually be able to mount a gap back to the Mercedes. And oh, by the way, if Soxy can get that penalty removed, this will be a battle for the 2nd spot, genuinely. Charlie Golf within a 10.5 on King Pro Player. Not going to have it. This time by will be 10 laps to go. And oh boy, have we got a final 10 laps for you. Kato to the inside of Curveball. He'll get past him. Not necessarily easily. That's never the right word, but yeah, easy enough. Soxy gets around the outside of Reimer. Reimer, will he try to be later on the brakes through 4? Will he try to switch him back? Going through 5, brilliantly done by the Mercedes, and he has done it. Does he hold on through 6? He'll have to make Soxy go the long way round on a corner with no camber. Soxy, does he get better acceleration? They're going to be side by side through 7. Oh, and I think Reimer probably had to do the right thing and kind of let off there. Yeah, that was going to be risky if he didn't. Oh, I tell you what, the drama unfolding here and again, and we still think that Soxy can maybe get that penalty removed. Walrus now up to 12 seconds. Oh, Soxy, I think he's pushed a little bit through 12. Reimer will have DRS, assuming he stays within the 2nd. That at the zone right here. 10 laps to go of this circuit here for the penultimate round of the season. What a time it's been. Started with 19, down to 15. But goodness me, so many twists and turns have happened, and so many more yet to come, I'm certain of that. Walrus now dropping. He's down to 10th, and he looks to be into the pit lane. Strategical stop, unless has he picked up damage in that scrabble with Soxy. That certainly seems to be the case. And no, maybe not. Wasn't really in there long enough to see if it was a wing change, so I think just genuine soft tire run, maybe trying to get the fastest lap. That's a good look. He's going to lose time with the penalty anyway. Yeah, pit, go for the fastest lap with your soft. It's a good look. It's a reasonable way to do it. Curveball 2/10 on Kato. Kato not necessarily close enough to Sepulveda quite yet, but Charlie Golf doing 0.5 of a second back to Reimer. Still trying to close in here. Although, once again, 3 seconds of penalty. For the time being, he wouldn't lose penalty, he wouldn't lose track position to DWCJ. DW would get a spot on King Pro Player, wouldn't get it on Charlie, not for the time being. So at the moment, that would promote DW to 5th. Charlie Golf would keep 4th. Reimer, again, battling with Soxy here for what could be probably 2nd place. Again, we think maybe Soxy can get that penalty erased, in the mix-up then with Angry Walrus. Reimer will try the inside on Soxy. He's going to have that one. Charlie Golf. Can he pick up the slipstream on the Mercedes as well? Oh, don't send it to the inside of Reimer, too. Oh, he's still side by side with Soxy. And he's actually muscling the Williams out of the way. He's done it. And King Pro Player doing it as well. Soxy, vulnerable at the wrong moment, has now dropped to 5th as King Pro Player to the inside. Charlie Golf, contact between them. That's going to allow Soxy potentially positions here, switches back, and just like that, whoop-de-doo, guess who's back? It is Soxy, up to 3rd. Holy crap! King Pro Player and Charlie Golf side by side. More contact between them. This is incredible, genuinely. Oh, and that's absolutely helped Charlie Golf there. 3 seconds for DWCJ. It's helped Sepulveda as well. He'll be gaining a spot for this, from the looks of it. But 0.5 second. Soxy to Reimer. 3/10 between King Pro Player and Charlie Golf. Down the pit straight they go. Reimer does lead this queue. We are getting closer to the final stages of the lap. Ronnie, although, has to be said, in a class of his own, 7.5 seconds ahead of the battle for 2nd place. Penalties or no penalties, it's still a battle, and very easily could Reimer pick up a 3 seconds and make this a genuine outright battle for position between 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. 6th of DWCJ, a little bit further out of the picture, but still kind of there. Walrus, well, there you go. Fastest lap of the session. On his soft tires that he's pit for recently. Through turn 6 they go. Nothing to be had so far. Kato may have a look at Sepulveda. No, he's not quite close enough. Curveball back to Kato, 3.5 of a second. That's looking like it could be a possibility. Through turn 7 they go. And now he has lost a little bit of time there. He's not quite been close enough to get back at him. Charlie Golf, however, 0.3 of a second back to Soxy as they make their way through the baseball stadium section of the track. Coming up to the last 5 laps of this Grand Prix. Down the pit straight they go. Reimer has a 6.5, nearly 0.7 of a second advantage over Soxy. Question is, does Charlie Golf have the means to get around the Williams into the first corner as Soxy tries it round the outside of Reimer and will get back up to the 2nd spot? That will allow Charlie Golf and King Pro Player to try to sort things out behind them. As it turns out, Charlie Golf will get around one Mercedes. Can he get around the 2nd? Again, one mistake by Reimer could be a 3-second penalty for him as well. King Pro Player gets around his teammate. Oh, a bit of a tank slapper there going through 4. Reimer's gotten back around him. Yeah, that was risky for King Pro Player. He's held it well. Reimer on the ropes for the time being, has to be said. Again, with the current situation, would still take 2nd on track. We do think that Soxy can get that 3-second penalty removed by the battles and contacts that he had with Angry Walrus. That much we're pretty certain of. if he is to bring that to the stewards, I would say I'd be more surprised if it didn't get called in his favor and he'd get that penalty removed. That does not deprive us of the fact that Ronnie ahead of the grid. However, I will say this. Ronnie has lost somewhere along the line about 1.5 seconds of time. And he is slightly losing more as we go. He's not really tumbling. More or less, he is losing time. Reimer now to the inside of Charlie Golf. It looks like he's going to get this one. Unless can Charlie Golf strike back to the inside of turn 2. Going to give each other plenty of room here, aside from that contact. Reimer will get out ahead, takes the 3rd spot. Ronnie now back up to the 7 seconds like we more or less expected. Reimer still outside of DRS range back to Soxy. At the line this time, we'll have 5 laps to go. Curveball to the back end of Sepulveda. This is battle for position as well. Matter of fact, battle for 6th, maybe even 5th. DWCJ's penalty will put them back. Will put both of these drivers ahead, I think. Could be looking at the position of 5th for King Pro Player as well. He's got 6 seconds of penalty. And they'd have to hustle to get to him, but it's possible. Charlie Golf Charlie's going to go well wide through 12. Johnny Damon now, 3 seconds of penalty, his first of the day. Back up to 7.5 seconds from Ronnie to Soxy. About 1 second from Reimer. Oh, as we have a yellow flag somewhere along the line. It looks as if Walrus has had a wee bit of a spin somewhere. Maybe has he pit again? Not rightly sure what's going on with him. King Pro Player to the inside of Charlie Golf. We do have 5 laps to go. And I think still, Reimer in play on getting this win. But the question is, Sepulveda loses a couple of positions there. He's lost it to both Curveball and John the Prince going through that first corner. Now under pressure from Kato. Kato's going to have a fair look at him here, especially with DRS in play, that Sepulveda doesn't have. So, Ronnie our leader, 6.5, nearly 7 seconds of gap. As we have a yellow flag, it's just Angry Walrus getting out of the way. John the Prince, 3 seconds of penalty. That's huge in this battle. I think, has he gone wide through turn 5, or maybe has he taken too much of the inside of one of the curbs? That's a good question. I didn't quite see what happened there. Yellow flag. Oh, no. Oh, right. What? So suddenly, I apologize. Something had happened there. Reimer had gone deep through 12. Soxy, did he make a bit of a mistake? That was a very odd turn of events. I don't know what's happened. But now Reimer finds himself in 4th behind his teammate. He'll have DRS. This will be no problem for well, maybe not. Well, I say that. He's not getting around King Pro relatively easily here. No, he's staying within it. At the line this time by will be 3 laps to go for Ronnie, who currently, again, 6-second advantage. Sepulveda getting around Curveball. Curveball, oh, maybe some contact with Kato there. John the Prince in position as well. I don't believe he's in the spot, really, to be taking this position. Curveball, does he have a look at Sepulveda for 7th? Not quite. Good battle here amongst the midfield, but again, we have a battle for the 2nd place afoot here. King Pro's actually going to get around Soxy. Walrus now up to 18 seconds in penalty. Reimer behind them. Reimer next up ahead of him is that Williams of Soxy, his main championship rival. Curveball getting around Sepulveda in towards turn 12. Nicely done. 3 laps to go. Curveball. Big news here. 3-second penalty for him. That has really almost opened the door for Sepulveda. I don't believe he's going to be getting 6th place. He'll get at least 7th here with penalty or not. He's going to dispatch Curveball, I think, there. Kato's going to get around him as well. Look at Kato, the pace he has. He'll get both of them. Wow. So Kato up to 7th. Of course, he does still have the penalty in play. Bit of a slippy going on there. Kato, is he losing positions? It's tough to tell, but Soxy's actually gotten back around King Pro Player, and I tell you why that is because Soxy has had DRS to the back marker of Angry Walrus. King Pro Player to the inside through 7. Soxi's going to go a bit wide there. Through Sector 2. Walrus, 21 seconds of penalty now. Yeah, there is Soxy with the DRS to the back marker ahead of him. King Pro player trying to get around him as much as he can. Soxy defending like a lion. Johnny Damon now fastest lap. Oh, King Pro, bit of a tank slapper there on the way into 13. At the line, 2 laps to go. Reimer's got to get around King Pro player here and get back to fighting Soxy for second place again. Reimer's battle is not with the penalty attached to Soxy's name. I think he's got to get him on track here. But for the time being, won't be close enough. He'll have DRS again on the way into turn 4 just by naturally getting it. Soxy, I think, is actually playing this quite smart here. He's taking his time and trying to get around the Aston Martin here, because that's affording him DRS as well. Three-dimensional chess being played by Soxy at the moment. That's a fantastic way to be, because as long as he stays within reach of the Aston Martin back marker... Oh, Bongit is retired! That is on track coming out of turn 3. We're too late in the race now, I think, for a safety car. Oh, he has generally done that car in as well. I don't know how he's spun around. We've got both Ferraris DNF now. Soxy has once again been able to stay ahead of Reimer just by having DRS, trying to get around Angry Walrus's back marker, and Walrus will go past the chicane. Final lap of the Grand Prix underway as now yellow flag. Oh, I think that is Walrus just allowing drivers by, but now Reimer has got to get around Soxy here. I think he's got the means to do it as they make their way in towards the first corner. Reimer's got to do it on track here. He can't do it with penalty. We don't think that penalty can stay. Reimer around the outside, late on the brakes. Is he going to be able to hold on to it? Contact between the two championship rivals. Does Reimer still have the outside? Yes, he does. Wow, and I tell you what, Soxy is still going to be within reach here. Oh, but look at this. Charlie Golf trying it on the outside. Charlie Golf gets in the way. That will almost certainly end Soxy's chances of getting second. Oh, the drama unfolding here. Charlie Golf gets round the Williams, and into the distance goes the Mercedes of Reimer, certainly looking like we'll take second place. Reimer needed to get round Soxy on track, and he's done that. Cleanliness you could probably dispute all you'd like. Soxy just may, but no dispute here. Ronnie making his way through the final 2 corners. As soon as he got himself into clean air, he has dominated, and Ronnie in the Red Bull will win the Mexican Grand Prix here in the Elite Tier by some margin as well, as Reimer looks to come round the line in second place. Soxy will be promoted to 3rd. Charlie Golf stays ahead of King Pro. DWCJ, I think, could be improving here. Oh, I don't think he's going to be close enough to do so. DW to the line, stays 6th. Great effort from him. John the Prince will actually be demoted to 8th. Sepulveda takes the 6th position. Curveball past Cato. Manson, Pontiac, and Johnny Damon, the final 3 cars yet to cross the line. And well, I told you we were going to have a great Grand Prix, and we did. And there's just one more next time out in Abu Dhabi, the Yas Marina circuit, for the final round of the Elite Tier season. Just waiting for Johnny Damon to cross the line, but Hotspot, it's been a pleasure joining you once again here in the Elite Tier. And we will see you next time. On behalf of all of us at the CCRL,